Taylor Cocke here for Yahoo Esports. I'm here with two of the developers on Hearthstone. So today we got to look at Whispers of the Old Gods. We got just a handful of cards to look at. But one of the most exciting things that I saw was the first of the four old gods. We got CThun today. Can you guys give us a little bit of insight into exactly what CThun does?
Sure. So CThun is the super powerful ancient being, and it has a ton of followers throughout Azeroth. And each of these followers interacts with it in a potentially different ways. So one of the ones that we saw was Beckoner of Evil. She's a 2-mana 2/3, and when you play her, CThun gets +2/+2 no matter where it is. So if it's hiding in your deck, if it's in your hand, if it's behind an unstable portal, if it's in play, it'll get stronger. So when you play it, CThun's a 10-mana 6/6, or 10-mana 10/10, or 10-mana 20/20, depending on how many of these followers you've summoned over the course of the game. It shoots out an eyeball for each of its points of attack. So the 20/20, it'll shoot out 20 eyeballs. Each of them does 1 damage to a random enemy. So that's a pretty powerful effect when you play it. And in addition, you get this 12/12 or 18/18 or 20/20 body to go along with it.
It's very cool because you can see when you're playing against CThun, you can see their CThun growing as they're summoning these followers and doing the various buffs. So you see that guy getting bigger and bigger, and you know, oh geez, in not very long that thing's gonna come down on my head. So I better win this game fast. But it's a very, very cool feel.
Yeah, I definitely had a few games go a little bit overboard with the CThun upstairs.
There's no such thing. There's no overboard with CThun.
It's just all powerful all the time.
It's an ancient nightmare. I'm not sure what you were expecting.
How do you design a set of cards around one single card that's going to sort of define a deck?
Yeah, so Whispers of the Old God has a ton of new cards. It's got 134 new cards, and one of them is CThun. So there's 16 new cards in the set that revolve around CThun, and there's a lot of other cards in the set that revolve around other mechanics and allow other decks to exist. There are still 3 other old gods that all have their own crazy, unique, and powerful feel to them.
So from the perspective of sort of the high-level meta, I had a couple little concerns about the idea of having a deck based around a single card, considering it feels a little bit like you're perhaps pushing the meta towards one specific kind of deck, or in this specific instance, obviously we've only seen a handful of cards from the set. But how do you sort of avoid sort of shoving the meta down your players' throats?
So one of the ways is that the CThun deck has different ways to build it. The CThun deck is certainly not the only deck in Whispers of the Old Gods. There are lots of other cards in the set and lots of other decks that you can build. But even within the CThun deck, there's a bunch of variation. Other classes have different ways of interacting with CThun. For example, Druid has ramp cards, and so ramp cards would let you get to CThun much more quickly. Warrior has armor and has a bunch of defensive options, so that allows you to survive well until you can get to CThun. So in each of those different classes, CThun feels different. So that helps a lot for making sure the metagame doesn't feel stagnant, even if you see different CThun decks in different places.
How much focus are you putting on keeping some of these older decks alive? Like, I mean, is that a concern for you guys? I'm like keeping Zoo alive, keeping Handlock alive. I can play a little bit of Warlock here and there. But how much thought are you putting into that sort of stuff?
So it's definitely important that old decks, that old strategies exist. So if players like aggressive strategies, there should be aggressive strategies for them to gravitate to. And if your style is to play a more controlling game, there are definitely controlling strategies. Specific deck archetypes will come and go. Sometimes Face Hunter is the most powerful aggressive deck, and sometimes Zoo might be the most powerful aggressive deck, and so on. So that type of thing fluctuates as time goes on. And Whispers of the Old Gods is no different. There will be new decks for each of the classes, and new controlling decks, and aggressive decks, and mid-range decks. So that will definitely evolve as time goes on.
Are you ready to declare CThun a top-level deck, or are we just a little too early here?
We'll definitely see how the players take it. CThun's an exciting card, and there's lots of cool cards that revolve around him, and we'll see what happens as things shake out.
All right. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. For more on Hearthstone, keep it locked right here on Yahoo Esports.